Live. Okay, ready to go live. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I am so ready this morning. Good morning, everybody. I am ready. Who's ready? Who is ready to get going? Who is out there in the social media world? It is Tuesday morning. Greg Simon here with the New Doors Mentorship and Coaching. And I'm ready to fly. We're ready to fly. Who's ready to fly this morning? It is such a good morning. It was amazing. Yesterday I was not on because I had a event to go to in Mississauga, so I had to hit the roads nice and early. But it was a great event, and it gave me a lot of juice for this morning. Let me tell you, when you get yourself into the room with incredible people, massive producers, motivators, accelerators, people that are hungry. Woo! When you get into the room with those kind of people, you can't help but take on some of what they have if you're willing. If you're willing. It's so important, friends, that we get into the room with hungry people, that we get into the room with people that are challenging themselves, challenging life, and going after what it is that they want for their life. They're going after their why. They know why they're doing what they're doing. Who are they doing it for and why it matters? And it's so important for you to get in the room and surround yourself with abundant mindset people. It's powerful, it's accelerating, it's uplifting. And we know that we all need some motivation, right? We need some uplifting and encouragement. And motivation gets you going, and discipline keeps you going. Motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you going. And discipline is really in our daily habits. We've talked about how discipline is love. It says God disciplines the ones that he loves. We self-discipline ourselves to show that we love ourselves, that we believe in the purposes and the plans that we have for our life, and we love that enough. We honor that enough in our life to put disciplines and practices in ourselves, to commit to every single day, knowing that it's worth it, knowing that we're worth it. And yesterday was really, really interesting. Really interesting. And I want to share this morning. I want to talk about how we can't conform. Do not conform to the cares of this world. Do not conform to other people's ideologies and beliefs if it's against who you are. If there is something that is keeping you quiet, that's keeping you moving forward in what it is that you want to do, that you desire for your life, you need to ask yourself why. What is keeping you back? What is keeping you bound? What is keeping you quiet? What is keeping you from being motivated and disciplining yourself, from really going after it? We're in a crisis in this day and age. We're in a crisis of the most anxiety, suicides, confusion. Like it is like we are in dire straits, in dire need of a breakthrough in society right now, with everything, all the wars, all the traumas, all the pain, all the suffering. It's understandable why there is a lot of that. But do we accept that as what God wants for our life? Do we accept that as how it should be? Or do we make changes around in our family and ourselves and our community? Do we start making these changes to turn things around? Or do we just kind of accept it as being what it is? There is such confusion, there's such fear, and there's such anxiety because there's a misalignment. I talked about wisdom, how wisdom brings security, assurance, confidence, right? And the opposite of that is scarcity and fear and worry and letdown and grief. And so why we have such anxiety, why we have such fear, why we have such high suicide rates is because people are in misalignment with their being. They're misaligned with their truth. They've conformed to ideas and beliefs that are not real truth to who they are. They've allowed themselves to be silenced, to be brought low, to be quiet, so that they wouldn't stand out, so they wouldn't be called rebellious, so they wouldn't be like talked about, or they just thought it's easier to conform, it's easier not to say anything, it's easier if I just go along with the current, if I just swim along with the crowd, then things will be better that way. Things are not better that way. We are in such crisis of fear, scarcity, suicide, calamity, because of misalignment, of people not holding to their truth and allowing to be silenced and sitting back and not going after what it is that they know they're to go after and do in life. And that's really sad. And we've all gone to that. I know that I'm a victim of that as well. And I can't blame anybody else except for myself when I have not spoken up, or I have not made decisions, or I've done something to make others feel better, which cost me to feel worse about myself. And that's why we have the crisis that we do right now, is because people are not seeking and loving wisdom. They're going after conformity. They're just going along with the trends, going along with what's being told to them, and not questioning it, and just going along. And yesterday was really interesting. Our keynote speaker, Brent Grove, amazing man, so incredible, so like inspiring. But he said the thing that holds you back from going after what it is that you really want in your life is your pride. The thing that holds you back from going after what it is that you want is your pride. And something really interesting happened yesterday. A few things actually that I'm just, reflecting on this whole area of conformity and not speaking your truth and not speaking out. And I'm not talking about being rebellious and being a crusader, and because those are very few and wonderful people that are able to do that. I'm just saying to not shrink back and not be who you know in yourself. You know that you are aligned with your true beliefs and your convictions. And so yesterday's event, I met some people that I invited to an event, wonderful people, but I hadn't met them. I just invited them to come. We had spoken on the phone and they said yes, and they came. And the one person said, "Oh, we're a little tired because we had a holiday, we had a festival last night, so we were up late." And I said, "Oh, what was it?" And she quietly spoke softly and said, "Oh, we celebrated Purim." Like so soft. And I said, "Oh, Purim." And my head was in a different space. So I was like, I just was not thinking about it, right? I was like, "Oh, so what is that?" She goes, she says, "Well, we're Jewish." And she quiets herself, "We're Jewish. And it's about Queen Esther." I'm like, "Queen Esther? Yes, of course I know about Queen Esther. What an amazing, incredible story." And this goes with my word this morning about conformity. And she started to begin to share how she wanted to, she's even afraid to say that she's Jewish. She's afraid to say if she is because of the times that we live in. And how sad is that? How sad is that? A beautiful story of a woman who saved the Jewish people. She was called for such a time as this to rescue the people the Jewish people from annihilation. And she had to, wait for the perfect time. She had favor in the sight of the king. The king loved her, adored her, saw her as a wise woman. But she was afraid to speak out. She was afraid to say anything because, what could happen to her or happen to her family, happen to the community. And so she held back. She resisted. She waited for the perfect time. And that perfect time came, and she rescued the Jewish people from being annihilated off this earth. And it's an incredible, powerful story. And it's something of history that needs to be celebrated and spoke about. And so why would anybody be afraid to share such a story of who they are? There was another woman there yesterday. who is a mom, and she's a rock star realtor. She's an icon producer, an amazing woman. She's got young kids, and she's just accelerating in her career. And so they had a women's panel on the stage, and they were talking about, how do you work life balance? How do you do what you're doing? And this one woman, she was like, you could tell, like, she had tears. She was really nervous about something. And, eventually she just said, I got to say what I got to say. I just need to say it. And everything in her was trembling with fear of what she needed to say. And this is what she needed to say. And I ask you, why did she have to be afraid to say this or to share this? She's shaking and she's trembling, and she's like, the thing I need to share, I just got to get it out. I just have to share it, is how I find my peace, how I find my strength, how I'm able to do what I'm doing is because I spend time with God, reading his word and worshiping and praying and spending that time. That's how I find my peace. That's how I find my strength. That's how I'm able to do what I'm able to do. Why was she afraid to share that? Why was she scared to do that? Then there was a man on the stage, and he was fasting. He was fasting as a Muslim man, and he was clearing his throat because he can't drink water and he can't eat food until a certain time of the day. And so he's like, excuse me, sorry, I'm fasting. I can't drink or eat. And he just shared. He wasn't doing it a trembling or fear or anything. He just shared it. He's like, sorry, my throat is dry because I'm not drinking, I'm not eating, I'm fasting. And he just shared it. And it was so good. We just moved on. I'm like, okay, that's great. And then Brent Gove, he got up on stage and he said this. He said, the reason you don't do what you need to do or you feel called to do is because of pride, because of worrying about what other people think and holding your back. And you holding back from pride or fear of what people will say or do is costing you. It's costing you. And you have to really ask yourself, why am I afraid to speak up? Why am I afraid to do what it is that I know that I need to do? Do not conform to the cares and the fears of this world. There is a destroyer of your life, Satan, and he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And when you conform, when you pull back from speaking your truth, acting out in your truth, doing what you know that you need to do, then you're lessening your value. You're lessening in who you are. And then you're unaligned with who you are, with why you're doing what you're doing and who you're doing it for. And the world right now cannot afford it. They cannot afford you being unaligned with who you are and what you're called to do and what you're meant to do. And no one should ever be afraid to share. I just celebrated Purim because of Queen Esther and what she did to rescue and save the Jewish people. A woman should never be afraid to say, I have my truth, I have my peace because I spend time with God. No one should ever be afraid to say, excuse me, pardon me, I'm fasting and I'm not drinking for the day so my throat is dry. Nobody should ever be afraid to say, be authentic, be real. No. So I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to love and seek and have passion for wisdom. Go after her. Go after her with a vision, with a vengeance. Seek after wisdom and find her. And be built up with who you are and come into alignment with that truth. Do not bow to pride that holds you back and keeps you from doing what it is that you know that you're doing. The world needs you. In this time of scarcity and fear and strife and war, the world needs you just to be authentic, to be loving and to be kind, full of virtue, full of strength, of knowing who it is, why it is, and what it is that you're meant to do. I'm Grace Simon with the New Doors Mentorship, and I just want to bless you with an incredible, abundant, amazing Tuesday. And we will see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Have a great one. God bless you. Have an amazing day. See you soon.